I'm a swimming because my guest host started this joke. I gotta finish now. I don't know why they started this joke, but I'm swimming back. Oh boy.
Oh, God. Jackson, Murph. It was the Atlantic, not the Pacific. How do you think I ended up in Boston? But in all seriousness, it's good to be back, and without any further ado, welcome everybody to another episode of Fantasy News. I am your disheveled goblin host, Daniel Green, and today I am very happy to announce that we are way ahead of schedule for the Neon Ghost Kickstarter, and we kind of had a philosophy of under-promise, over-deliver. Originally, they were said to be on your doorstep by September 2024, but it's looking far more likely that they will be in your hands in Q1 of 2024. So, yay! I just have to get through signing about 9,000 pages and then a whole lot of bookmarks, even more than I signed for the Lawful Times, and then they'll be in your hands. This hand's gonna be in a lot of pain. My book stuff aside though, let's go ahead and jump on into the first bit of news for the day, which is of course going to be around the fact that we've officially had a release date for the next Percy Jackson book, which will be hitting shelves in September of 2024, and the book is titled Wrath of the Triple Goddess. We don't have a cover yet, unfortunately. Quick clarification I want to put in here that I wish I had done the original coverage. Just to clarify, this is not the 6th Percy Jackson book, which was announced when the show was officially picked up by Disney. This is the 7th and will not be released until, as I said, next year. So Percy Jackson fans be feastin'. And if you don't mind with me coming back to fantasy news today, I'd like to spend a little bit extra time on some beautiful cover reveals because it's my favorite part of the show to do. And we had a release from Tor.com for Lost Ark Dreaming by Sui Davis Okemboa. With cover art by Rafael Costa, this post-climate crisis novella is definitely on my radar for several reasons. Partially because part of the pitch was involving Snowpiercer, and if you want to get my attention, I mean, mentioned Snowpiercer. But in a wildly different approach to cover art, we also had the release for The Goddess of the River. Written by Vaishnavi Patel, this is pitched as a powerful reimagining of the story of Ganga and her doomed mortal sons. And you all know my preferred flavor of cover art by now. That more withheld style, but with bombastic colors in your face, is gonna get me every single time. And why is it that part of my dumb brain always enjoys when the art eclipses the words and titles just a little bit, adding that dimension? It's like the oldest trick in the book, yet still it makes my brain go oh, there's depth to it. But in the book reveal I know is going to get the biggest reaction from my audience today, we also had Galanx release their first look at a special edition of The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. This Emporium exclusive deluxe signed edition will be available October 26th of 2023. There's only going to be 750 copies going for £75. Your pounds. That's the pound thing, right? There's only going to be 750 copies going for £75, which actually isn't that crazy of a price for a signed hardback. But before we get into the big writer's strike update today, I do want to cover the fact that the author of Blame, Tatsumu Nihei, has started a new fantasy manga series titled Tower Dungeon, which will be released October 26th in the monthly comic Serious issue. I don't know the manga world super well yet, so I'm a little confused by that, but cool. It's pitched as after killing the king and kidnapping the princess, an evil sorcerer hides in a huge tower-like structure where strong magical beasts roam. A young farmer joins the rescue squad trying to save the princess by venturing into the enormous tower. Is anyone else seeing the parallels to Blam here? Who am I to throw stones? I got mega structures in my own book. But if Blam, mistranslated into blame over here, is any indication to go by, this is gonna be one trippy ride. And I'm interested to see what this author can do with this specific fantasy setting. It's an intriguing one. But now we jump on over to the big old strike update, because we have seen a tremendous victory for the WGA. I won't go into all of the details here, but as you can see on screen, they have had a big old page pay bump. There have been strict limitations put on studios using AI alongside writers. And in terms of streaming, now it seems we will be seeing far less incidences of writers who contributed to major hit shows that take off, essentially getting paid pittance for their work. Yay! But as this news dropped, we also started to hear about how SAG-AFTRA members have approved a vote to strike against the video game industry, with 98.32% of members voting yes to strike. Now, this does not mean the strike is going to happen, just that they now have this vote in their pocket for the next bargaining session that's going to happen within the week. But speaking of troublesome times in the streaming era, we have some big updates, not just for Rings of Power, but also how Amazon Prime is going to be presenting its materials to you as well. Because it has been released that only 37% of viewers finished the Rings of Power, which is about where I would have estimated it to be. It is still carried to have a portion of the fan base finish it just out of either curiosity or loyalty to the franchise, and I'm sure there are some genuine fans out there, but that over 60% drop off is expected just due to how, I think the universal term I've heard to represent Rings of Power's story is bland it was. Which is almost funny to say looking back on the actual events that happened in the show objectively, like a volcano explodes and Sauron appears. So many things that feel like they should be like, bah. There was just something about the writing that failed on a technical level to make those things feel like they had the weight behind them they should. The thing is though, we're definitely not going to be seeing Rings of Power canceled anytime soon. In fact, it's just been confirmed that season 3 is a go over at Prime. But if I remember correctly, back when we first talked about Amazon acquiring the rights to make Rings of Power, they committed to finishing the 5 seasons as a part of the contract. I'd feel bad for them, but you know, it's Amazon. They can afford it. And also, apparently we are going to be getting advertisements within our Prime viewing experience. That's about the only thing I can feel in response to that news right there. As early as next year, there will be, yes, advertisements appearing within Prime Video for UK, US, German, and Canadian customers, unless you pay for the ad-free option. Like, genuinely, we're just seeing streaming turn into cable right before our eyes. There's too many channels, streaming services, and now they're gonna be packed full of ads. The only difference is now you can pay for a higher tier to get rid of them. Wonderful. Total and complete side tangent. Within my book, Neon Ghosts, I made like advertising you can't escape a large theme because I see that as just a big point in humanity's future, and I wanted to drill it home to the point where it's in your dreams and there are AI-made influencers who are like beautiful, perfect people running on algorithms to just create echo chambers to tell you exactly what you want to hear from perfect people. And with the recent Jarvis video about how like those type of influencers are already becoming a thing, and now seeing advertisements injected into all kinds of stuff, even like TVs that are coming with ad bars that are on the bottom you can't get rid of to make the TV cheaper. My biggest dread for our future on a more like casual level outside of like the continuing climate crisis is just how much advertising is going to become an inevitable part of just waking up in the world. He says, taking sponsors. At least Kayla and I make them as funny as we can for you. But in less dread-inducing Lord of the Rings related news, we also had a teaser drop for Tales of the Shire, which is pitched as essentially a comfy, cozy Shire-based game. And I'm a little exhausted by Lord of the Rings stuff right now, but a comfy, cozy Shire game is something that I have talked about wanting since like Stardew Valley came out, and like everyone had that idea of like, oh damn, a Shire comfy, cozy farming game sounds wonderful. The good news is this is absolutely not being brought to you by the same people behind the Gollum game, because that studio is gone now, and Weta Workshop will be involved, and they half-ass nothing. With Weta Workshop as the developer and Private Division as the publisher, who are responsible for things like Kerbal Space Program, I'm cautiously optimistic. But there is no specific release date known yet, not even a trailer, just that they hope to have it in your hands by 2024. I'm probably not going to play this though. Why, you ask? Because the only game I want to play now is Baldur's Gate. I have zero desire to even check out Phantom Liberty when I used to be so hyped for Cyberpunk just because Baldur's Gate is what occupies all my little video game brain. I have nearly beaten the game and know I will immediately restart playing it. If my apartment was on fire and there was a baby that needed rescuing in that apartment, I would still make sure to save my Baldur's Gate game before getting up to go save that baby. Yes, I would go save that baby, but I'd make sure that my progress was not lost, and you can't shame me for that. Baldur's Gate. Next up though, we have something that I'm unfortunately gonna say is underwhelming in my opinion, though I'm not the biggest fan of Scott Pilgrim to begin with. It just isn't something that clicked with me when I first consumed it. But this clip dropped from the upcoming Scott Pilgrim anime was clunky, to say the least. I haven't really seen people's larger reaction to it. But is this the specific style that like Scott Pilgrim is supposed to be in? Because the animation felt not smooth and the voice acting was very separate is the word I want to say in terms of how the actors seem to be talking with each other. This is coming courtesy of Netflix, and we do know the release date will be November 17th, which isn't too far off. In the last bit of trailer news, we also had the animated Lara Croft Tomb Raider show also coming over at Netflix drop, and it looked actually pretty solid. If there's one franchise that has stayed around from when I was a kid that I would have not expected to have the staying power it has shown to have, it would be Lara Croft Tomb Raider. I have no problem with it sticking around. Overall, the franchise has been a success, I feel. It's just interesting to see them go into medium after medium and now take on animation in a big Netflix show with Haley Atwell voicing Lara Croft. That seems like perfect casting to me. I'll definitely be checking this one out. I mean, not everything we've gotten from Tomb Raider has been perfect, but it's certainly a franchise that has been serving for its fans over the decades. Now, I do try and avoid covering sadder pieces of news and fantasy news, but I feel this one is big enough that it would be odd if I didn't cover it in some capacity, and that is that Sir Michael Gambon has passed on. The actor behind Dumbledore in 6 of the 8 Harry Potter movies passed due to complications with pneumonia in hospital with his family around him. At the age of 82, the guy lived a remarkable, long, and it seems happy life, and I only can really say that's how I would want to go out, surrounded by my family. We all know for a fact that his incredibly charming and charismatic performance as Dumbledore is a huge part of what made those movies so foundational to, I'm sure, many millennials and Gen Zers' love of fantasy over the years. And the only thing I can really add here is may he rest in peace. Trying to shake that off though, I'm gonna go ahead and transition into my new favorite part of fantasy news, covering the wonderful books published by authors here in the Goblin Horde. Here are 3 fantastical works that if you want to support members in the community, you can go ahead and check on out in the links down below. First, we have a note from Kayla. She hopes you can respect. Yeah! First, we have Jack of Thorns, Book 1 of the Inheritance series by A.K. Faulkner, pitched as X-Men meets American Gods in this queer urban fantasy series from A.K. Faulkner. Lawrence Riley might be able to see the future, but he can't see a way to fix his messed up life. He can't control anything. Not his supernatural talents, not his drug addiction, and not his violent ex-boyfriend. Lawrence needs help, and he knows it. A lifelong pagan, he turns to his god, and he gets Jack. Jack can help Lawrence tame his powers and take control of his life, but it comes at a price. Lawrence will need to keep him fed with regular offerings of sex. For the old Lawrence, that would have been a pleasure. Problem is, Lawrence has met Quentin. Next up we have Seekers, The Winds of Change by Troy Knowlton, pitched as perfect for fans of An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir and We Free the Stars by Afsa Faisal. After an assassination attempt that could lead to an all-out war, Tires and Orin, 2 young seekers of the Argon Empire, are each given secret missions in an attempt to thwart the coming chaos. Both tasks require the seekers to venture through the war-torn continent of Tyerna. where the young men face mortal danger, horrible monsters, and hostile groups, all challenges Seekers are trained to combat. Luckily, the two Seekers find guidance, friendship, and romance along the way. However, powerful and mysterious forces are conspiring behind the scenes, and both Tyrus and Orin will have to overcome a host of obstacles, including their own inner demons, in order to maintain a glimmer of hope for success. With war imminent and the unknown ahead, will the Seekers triumph, or will they be swallowed by the turbulent, relentless winds of change? Finally, we have Chain of Starlight, Book 1 in the Starlight series by Lon E. Varnador. Pitched as a great fit for those who love tenacious heroines, desperate bets, and page-turning intrigue. She once called them family. When they turn against her, is there any corner of space dark enough to hide from their vengeance? Jonica Dosel is sick of the bloodshed. With her planet-hopping pirate campaigns growing increasingly violent, the determined woman gambles her life and listens to the strange voice in her head, urging her to flee. But her bid for freedom comes with no guarantee of success when she steals her captain's favorite ship. Pursued across the galaxy by her former crew, Jonica takes a risky job to earn money for the resources she needs to get away for good, but even teamed up with the psychic cat-shaped creature who first encouraged her to run, dodging the host of bounty hunters, revenge seekers, and alien agents after them, may make survival a near impossible mission. Can Jonica zero in on her target before she's killed by the hunt? But this has just been your latest episode of Fantasy News. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Check out my books if you want to go ahead and give them a read, and have a good one, y'all. Peace.